Welcome to the Javier Mendez podcast. We are here today in these quarantine times, but the UFC is looking at pushing a few fights out. We've got a special guest, Mowgli Benitez, who's a very excellent fighter out of AKA, and Coach Javier, who's been getting very popular recently in a lot of podcasts. So what's the circumstance? I know that we have a potential fight for Mowgli. Can we speak on this?
Well, first his name is Gabriel Mowgli Benitez. You went on his nickname first, which it's okay. You like messing with him, fine. But yeah, it's obviously we know that the UFC they're looking to throw 3 or 4 events. I think what is it, Mowgli? Are they looking to do 3 events a week type thing or something like that?
Yeah, I think one is the 9, the other one's the 13,
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's like
yeah.
three.
They're doing the 9th, the 13th. I don't know the next day and we know for sure the 9th is in Florida because the governor there approved it. But we, as of this time, do not know anything about the 13th, nor do I care. It's in the U.S., and it's better that it goes through than not go through because, I mean, hey, man, we need to get out there little by little and test the waters, with this pandemic. We can't continue to stay indoors, but it's got to be safe. Obviously, that's number one. And I think they're doing everything they can to make sure it's safe. But at the present time, I looked at the meter today, and we're worse off today than we were the other couple of days. So we haven't gone down at all. We're still getting, like I think over 36,000 Americans were infected today. So, man, it's a serious deal. So let's just hope everything works out right.
Yeah, I mean we've all maintained some distance, and Mowgli looks plenty healthy. How is this training for you, Mowgli, during these times? The psychology. I mean, you got to think your opponent is going through the same stuff you're going through, right? I mean, it's not like he's on a different island with no COVID, and if he had to come train somewhere, maybe he's still going to a COVID place or he's going to a COVID fight location. So that's they're doing everything to make it safe. So I'd feel safer going to the fight if Dana White and all his doctors and all that stuff, like Coach said. I'm sure I'd go to the fight as long as I can get tested. I'd like to get tested. I feel that. So how do you feel about it, Mowgli?
Well, I feel good right now. My last fight it was canceled. I supposed to fight in
England.
England, right? Yeah, and for this pandemic thing, they canceled my fight, but I feel like good. I still unshave and I'm still training, and let's see.
Uh, Coach, I mean, how does this, what do you think for fighters that haven't been, had the regular camps? How does this affect people's performance? People all come in kind of evenly because they don't have any one up on each other, but it's kind of like how does this affect the whole thing in your opinion?
Well, it depends, it depends on what individual has, all the pieces put together. Mowgli on this camp did not have all the pieces put together. So for him, it's even though, he is fighting, it's not an ideal situation. The sparring partners aren't there, the gym's not there, very rare does he get to do what he needs to do. The best thing all fighters can do is basically cardio. That's the one thing they all are able to do. But as far as getting together with the coaches and other teammates, that's a very difficult thing to do. And then if you do get together with somebody, it's got to be that one individual or those 2 individuals, and it's them all the time. And that's kind of what we're more or less doing with Mowgli. He's mostly with Coach Javier Carbajal. That's who's mostly been working with him. I've only managed to work once with him and Coach Ron Kessler. He himself, I don't know, Mowgli, how much is you've been working with Ron?
I just start working with him like just Tuesday and Thursdays and Saturdays morning, and with Coach Javi Carvajal is 3 times a week, sometimes 4.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
good.
and you only trained once with me, so there you go.
Yeah.
It's not an ideal situation, so it is what fighters have to do, but what you will get is 2 fighters that are ready to go because that's what fighters do. They get ready and they go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fighter, you would love to be having a fight right now to keep your mind off of everything that's going on, to stay focused on your career path. to move yourself up the rank, to, make some money and, feed your family and all that. So this is like, you're like, yay, I'll take it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of guys, if they just said, you want to fight? I bet the big answer would be yes. Don't you think, Mowgli?
Yes, actually, no, and I want to fight this year like maybe 3 times. I want to fight this like in this month. I want to fight, I don't know, June, July, and I don't know, November, December. I don't know, but I want to fight like this year like three times, and it's time
Hey,
to.
you should say is attention, Sean Shelby. I want to fight 3 times this year. Okay, buddy. Thank you. That's what you
Yes.
should.
You are on Coach's show, so Sean Shelby will find you here. So yes, you better speak up.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's a question. Like, I'm sure this is like a last minute fight. This has happened historically. People have taken things on 1 week's notice, 5 days notice. I think there's a point where you can't, like 3 days or something, because of medicals and weight cutting. You can't go within a certain frame. I think 5 days is probably the most out if there's a cancellation. This is short notice for you. How short of notice is this fight? And it's probably the same for your opponent, I'm guessing.
Well, like I was training before for a fight. It's kind of short notice because they cancel my fight, and I take a rest for just 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I'm still in shape. I'm still ready. That's good for me. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, do you know anything about your opponent?
I know it's Sopo, same like me. It's gonna be a fun fight. Like I always try to do like the people wants to watch. Like a stand up fight. Like a fun like a nice fight to watch. Let's see what happened.
How did you end up meeting Coach Javier?
How what?
How did you end up working with Coach Javier, ending up at AKA? Did you hear me?
The Ultimate Fighter. He did the Ultimate Fighter. He was on Team Velasquez. That's where we met, and he liked Kane and the group. So him and Alejandro Perez both came over after that. So it was due to Kane Velasquez coaching the team that gave him the exposure with us, and that's how he came. As a result of that. And his opponent is a Muay Thai stylist with from New York, Upper New York, not New York, but it's I forgot exactly where. But he is a southpaw. He's a wrestler, Muay Thai guy, good Muay Thai guy. His name is Peter Barnett, and this is I guess he fought in the Contender Show, and this will be his first UFC event. But it's gonna be like the Contender Show for him again because it's the same deal. There's not going to be any crowds, so the advantage for Mowgli of fighting in front of big crowds is not going to be here in this one like it would have been. So this guy's going to come into the same scenario as he did last time. So we will probably see a very tough guy. Mowgli does what I believe he's going to do. He should take care of this guy.
Yeah, Mowgli, you're very
Yes.
listo.
Estoy listo.
That's the thing. It's funny. When I'm there filming, I notice a lot of times I hear Habib. He's watching you guys. He's like, "Yeah, Mexican boxing. He loves it." And there's something that comes from your country. I mean, everybody, other Mexican fighters have this amazing thing. I don't know. I mean, heart, but style. What is it that's special about the Mexican boxing style that people really, tune into?
The heart, I think. Like we when you step the with the Mexican step, well, not the Mexican, the all Latinos step the cage or step the ring. They 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 give you everything in the ring. Like is they put his self and his soul in the ring. In the fight, and that's the thing.
Mm.
Yeah, that is number one thing that they do, and I wish they would do the opposite. Do what it takes to win, not go out there and give a performance. But that ain't gonna change. They're still gonna go out there and give their balls to the wall and just metal to the metal, man. They just go for it, and I would prefer them to be thinking more about how to win, a la Mayweather style, rather than going out there and Julio Cesar Chavez, just go for it. I like the thinking one, though Chavez was kind of a thinker too, But Mayweather's more the style I like. That he knows what to do, when to do it. But most Mexican fighters will not take that style. They rather not. They rather not. They won't do it. They're just gonna stick the way they are, and you can't change them. If that's what they want to be, then let them be.
Yeah, that's true. And well, I mean, historically, there's been so many high-level boxers coming out of Mexico. That's why I called it Mexican boxing. I know
Yeah.
Latin America in general, but
And it's better throw punches than receive it, right?
it's the corazon, as they say, the heart, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this place, you're going to possibly go to Florida. You got to do the weight cut, or you're pretty much on weight. You're staying on your diet and focusing on everything, Mowgli.
Yes. I'm not too heavy, and I still working on my, because I need to drop in weight to 145, and I still my diet not like really really hard right now because I don't have too much time, and I feel ready. Like it's I'm waiting this like since London.
So it was a happy last minute. Like, guess what? You're fighting. You're like, oh sure, I win the lottery. It's like a lottery right now. If you get
Yes.
right, you know, I'm sure coach is waiting for more fighters to get called up. You're hoping for that
No,
to happen.
no, no, not no, no. I'd rather not. I'd rather this pandemic be over and everybody can, resume to train the proper way. This is not the proper way to train. So if we don't have one more fighter fight after Mowgli, I'm very happy about that. I think everybody should train properly and safely. And unfortunately, in this particular case, we can't do that. So no, I do not. I do not want more fighters in there right now. I'm good with just Mowgli. He's been wanting it, and he was ready to go at the time. And but no, any new ones? No, absolutely not. Not till this thing's over.
Well, I mean, back to our other podcast, you've been telling people to stay safe. You've been an advocate of protect your family, watch out for this COVID virus. You're like, hey, let's take care of this first. That's everything. The message you've been putting across. You've been very consistent in that. And for Mowgli, hey, this is just something to focus on. How many fights have you had in the UFC now, Mowgli?
This is my number 10, I think. I have 10 fights in the UFC right now.
Wow.
I have a couple.
So I have a question, Mowgli. You train with when you're in the camp with all the Dagestani fighters. What do you like from that experience? What do you learn working with people like Umar, Islam, and Habib and all those guys?
Like everyone, like all the Russian guy has, they are super tough. Like all these guys they are super tough, and you know the wrestling is one of the most thing that I like. You know, just everyone is good.
That's what I get. That's what I get from Coach. He was saying that a lot of the people over there, someone said some comment and Coach responded to it was, no, Habib's over there training with Olympians, Dagestani wrestling. We were talking about some other comment. And, and Coach went and saw that firsthand. And it's like you were saying there was an army of all these super high level guys, huh, Javier?
Oh yeah. That's why it's like these guys that Division One wrestlers. Though it's a big deal, but how is it a big deal to a guy that wrestles with Olympians and a ton of collegiate guys at that level all the time? So how is that the big deal for him? He does it on a daily basis. It's like he hasn't. Nobody in wrestling and the MMA world has going to show him something different he hasn't seen. He's seen it all. He's been with the best in the world. Come on, Olympic gold medalists. They're not the best in the world. If they're not, I don't know who is. And he's had plenty of them over there. And judo too, Olympic gold medal judoist guy, boxing guys. I mean, shit, he's got everything.
Yes, we have everything in the gym. We don't need to jump to the other gym. We have boxers,
Not
we
our
have
gym, well,
jiu-jitsu
Habib's
guys.
gym.
Huh?
Well, Habib's gym. Habib has
Oh, Habib's gym. But I say like
Habib.
AK in AKA
Have
in
too,
AK.
but not the level of Habib.
I know, but in AKA we have everything too.
Yeah, because Habib comes over and
That
Daniel and
that's why I
we
say
bring it all together. But Habib has that over there too. Different people. He has a whole bunch of guys. I mean, when I was there, I saw quite a few Olympian level guys, and they were training there with those guys. I saw the world champion wrestler heavyweight. I forgot his name, but he was there, and I saw another guy that was like I think 165 world champion and judo champion. I mean, man, there's a whole bunch over there. Those guys. That's what. If you look at the Dagestan is history and this combat sports. I think as a country, they'd be one of the top in the world. Just Dagestan by itself.
Dagestan could put on their own shows every weekend. They'd have endless.
Yeah, I no joke either. No joke. They can definitely do that, and they can compete and be the best in the world. Just that region alone, just Dagestan alone. Forget about all the other countries. Just put Dagestan in, and as a country, and I guarantee you, I would not be surprised if Dagestan comes out to be number one in boxing. Wrestling, MMA, they're soaring in MMA over there, soaring. You haven't even seen much of what's coming out there. I've seen it, so I know what's coming. It's a big influx of great fighters that are on the rise that no one knows about, but they will.
Well, I guess, for Mowgli being, you're Mexican, right, Mowgli? Mexican,
yes, I'm Mexican. I'm from Tijuana.
Tijuana. You see, you've got someone like Kane, who's such an incredible grappler. You're like, ooh, he's Mexican and he's a grappler. I don't think there's a big grappling school or opportunity in Mexico. Am I correct in that?
No, in Mexico we don't have that. We don't have wrestling like here in the United States. Like we don't have wrestling in high school. We only play like just football.
Soccer.
Soccer. Yeah.
So for us,
yeah. Here football
Mexico,
is.
They don't have that wrestling, and soccer is the one thing that soccer and boxing, right? Mowgli, am I correct? Soccer.
Yes.
Boxing?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why Latinos are really good at both of those sports. Really, really good, and but that's all you play. That's all you play. But it isn't, if I'm not mistaken, it isn't that the parents push the kids to play soccer like they do in Dagestan. The parents push the kids to do grappling. They push them to do martial arts. They push them. It isn't. They don't give them much of a choice. It's kind of, you better do it. That's the way their mentality is over there. So in a way, they're breeding these kids that are coming out as phenoms. I don't think any other country in the world does that. I think there's a few countries that do something similar to that, but not like over there. Not like what I see. In Mexico, Mowgli, am I right or am I wrong? I don't know.
No, you're right, coach. You're right.
So Mexico, you weren't pushed to play soccer. Your father wasn't pushing you to box or anything like that, right? No. No. Can you imagine where you might have been? Yeah, you're great now, but can you imagine where you would be had your father pushed you in and been there with you, just like they are in Dagestan and some of these other countries? A lot further.
Yeah.
When was grappling starting for you, Mowgli? When did you get your first taste of it? When did you start adapting to it and learning it?
When I was 18, I started training, and I had my first fight like 7 months later when I started training, and I started with kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, but yeah, it was when I was 18.
I did a podcast today with Salim and the brothers, and they were giving a lot of props to Coach Ron Kessler for his grappling. I mean, he's not a real push his name out there kind of guy, but there's a reason why Coach Javier has him there. And they were saying, boy, that took my levels, because the two brothers were coming from another Latin American country. The twins, the Rodriguez brothers, are like, yeah, we finally learned to protect ourselves because everyone kept grabbing our legs. And was that kind of your same experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Javier knows. He's seen the combination. You put all the right grapplers in place, and there's guys that come with just stand-up that are ready to learn grappling. How can you tell if a guy's going to go further, or is there any indicator, Jav?
Yeah, there is. It just depends on what they do when they're on the ground. We have this one fighter, Mowgli. Where's Mo? Where's Mo from? Mowgli, the amateur kid, Mo.
It's from. I don't remember.
Is he from the Middle East?
He's from the Middle East, yeah.
He's from the Middle East somewhere, right? Okay,
yes.
A guy like him, he comes in. His stand-up is not very good at all. He was a good judo guy. I think he's a
black belt.
Black belt in judo, right?
Yeah, black belt in judo.
But then he gets put on the ground. and by the more experienced people like Habib and them, and he's screaming on the ground, just screaming, trying to get out, just doing everything he could to get out, and you watch the energy on him, the effort, and you watch the improvement. And when you see things like that, he's got something special. When you see improvement, when you don't see improvement, when they get put in that same scenario and they don't learn, they don't change, they don't go to their teachers and, hey, can you teach me this, or okay, I'm going to listen to you, coach, I'm going to do what you asked me to do. If they don't do those things, then you see something that's not going to be there. The people that advance are always the one that makes the mistake in sparring and they correct it in sparring. Then they go into the fights and they don't make those mistakes in the fights because they made them in sparring. And that's why it's extremely important to do the sparring so your coach can see you, or you can feel what you can or can't do. That way when you go into the fight, you'll be mentally prepared and physically prepared. So it's extremely important. And like you said, how do you see it? I see it when I see improvement. If they keep making the same mistake over and over and over again and no improvement whatsoever, then there you go. There's no future.
I'm going to ask if you thought about this. This is what I learned from the twins. They said they were sparring with some of the Dagestani guys, and they said, hey, every day my goal was not to get taken down. As long as I could, make that takedown, stay away as long as I can, and improve every day. And every day I'm going to keep that from happening more and more until I can stop it. And that was their mindset. Is that something that you embrace as well, Mowgli?
It's the same mentality. When I spar with these guys, it's the same thing that I think all the time. Like, please don't. I need to defend this takedown. To improve my defense takedown. And here you go. I feel good with my defense takedown. It's not the best one, but I feel good, and I try. I think I improved a lot since that I come in the first time to AKA.
I was going to
Yeah,
ask.
correct.
You think so
That's
too, Bob?
exactly. Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly the way to get better is you get in there and you tell yourself, hey, well, I'll give you a perfect example. It was years ago, probably 15 years ago, no longer than that. It was Josh Thompson, and Josh Thompson would go with our jiu-jitsu coach way back then, and Josh Thompson would get submitted about every round. He'd get submitted 3-4 times a round, and Josh would always get upset, God damn it, he keeps getting you this and that. And I say, hey, Josh, last time he got you how many times? He goes, let's just make a number up. But it was pretty close to that. He's go, he got me 6 times. I go, okay, how many did he get you today? He got me 4. Okay, well, he got you 6 last time. He got you 4 now. So what does that mean? He goes, well, must mean you're improving, right? And I see you're improving. So don't worry. With time, you'll see what happened. Eventually, he'll have to worry about you. As time went on, next thing you know, Josh Thompson kept improving, and all of a sudden, before you know it, he submits him. What a milestone, right? Thinking I'll never submit this guy, and all of a sudden, he submits the coach. There you go. That's what happens when you keep improving. You keep attacking. You keep not letting something put you down and keep you down. The mentality of a fighter is, they got to be selfish, and they got to never stay down, ever. If they're a true fighter, they'll never stay down. You may knock me down, you may knock me out, but you're never going to keep me down, because once you keep me down, then I need to change careers. I need to be something else, because being a fighter, there's no room for you there anymore.
It's all or nothing. There was a guy, and I'm going to go right back to you with a question, Mowgli. There was a guy that, not saying his name, but one of your fighters, he was like, finally, I have stopped this guy who keeps taking me down. What a day. He was so excited about his day. He'd been going with this guy for months. He's a rather tall fighter. I'm not going to tell you who he is, so you know what I'm talking about. But Mowgli, what was your experience first coming to AKA? What did you think? How did you feel coming into that gym?
Like I remember the first time that I come, everyone it was like family. Like coach is like your dad, like, and he cares about everyone, you know, and and you- and I can see when the first time that I come to AKA, I see training and Kane, DC, like Luke, like all the top guys, and everyone it was not cocky. Everyone it was like super humble, and they take you, they carry you. You know, that's the first thing that I like it. In the second one, like everyone, even the amateur guys, they are super good. You know, and I want to stay in a place like they want to put, like I want to stay in a place like they push me a lot, you know, and try to improve every day. That's why I love AKA, because like everyone, like every day comes like from another countries guys, you know, like fighters from everywhere, and you never stop to learn.
They all foreign fighters I've talked to, visitors have the same expression. I don't know. Did that just come to be, Javier, or was that always the model for AKA, where this family and this humble experience, like traditional martial arts kind of?
Uh, as we grew as a team, I started becoming more martial artsy type coaching. It wasn't that way at the beginning, absolutely not. It only started. It started with the speeches. You know, when I originally started doing speeches after team practice and keeping everybody together, keeping everybody accountable, martial arts ways. You know, and things started changing and become more of a family. And you know, like what Mowgli was saying at the very beginning there about, you know, I care about everybody. I wasn't always that way. I don't know. If you were training with us and I gave you attention, it would be like if you are nobody or anything of that nature. I was only focused on a few people, and that was it. If you are there training with the team, you are there to be used for the team. And I would never give you advice. I would never give you attention. I wouldn't even give you the time of the day. That was me. That was straight up me. You know. And as time went on, bringing on Josh Thompson, training Josh Thompson, and you know more other fighters came through, my attitude changed, you know, and you know I became more of actual team coach. But at the very beginning, no way, we were never that way. So what Mowgli saw was something that was not there you know, when I was first started coaching. It was not there, and I was not that guy. I became that guy, but I was not that guy at the beginning. No way.
Well, what changed you, having kids later on? You know, watching kids grow up and understanding, or what do you think changed that situation, Hav? I mean, the psychology. I mean, we all change.
There's a lot of underlying issues that were going on with me, but what changed is that you know, if I'm going to run the team, I got to be the team leader. You know, I can't be, you know, only Cain Velasquez, only DC, you know, only Luke Rockhold, only the main stars. You know, I have to focus on everybody, and I got to give everybody attention. I gotta let them know, hey, look, you know, I may not work with you, but I'm assigning you with somebody that can give you the work you need, and I will give you the advice. And my doors are always open to you to come and talk to me if you need to. I wasn't that way before. You could never talk to me. You know, if you wanted to, you weren't going to. So it was kind of like, don't waste talking to Hog. You ain't going to get in with him. Not that I was mean to anybody. I was never mean to anybody. But the one thing I've learned and I've become really good at is if I don't have to be mean to anybody. But the biggest mean you can actually do to somebody is neglect, you know. And if you basically don't like a certain fighter and you're in a position where you just all you have to do is neglect them. Don't give them any attention. You don't have to say mean things about them. Just don't give them attention. Once you do that, that's the biggest thing you can do to a fighter is not show them any of the love that you're showing everybody else. You know, they see, for example, just like a little baby, right? You know, mama gives attention to the one, and the other ones don't get it. Well, what happens? Envious, jealousy, you know, disruption of the family, the whole bit. So it's just common sense, you know, and I definitely 100% did do that in the past. I haven't not done it lately in the last 3, 4, 5 years, but I did do it in the past. Heck yeah, I did it.
It's the learning curve. So Mowgli, it sounds like you're lucky walking in during the happier times of the.
Yes, that's the thing that I think, like okay, I'm a lucky guy.
Well, Mowgli, I mean, you've changed, you've started there, you've watched yourself evolve. I mean, people usually see the Ultimate Fighter, and sometimes now lately they look pretty gamed up, but in the beginning when I was watching it, just could be some optical illusion that fighters look slower. Then they get into the UFC and they were way faster because they went to some good camp somewhere like AKA or something. And poof, I mean, there we were. You become you look like, wow, he's showing different moves now. Or I don't know, maybe it's the media, but Do you feel that you changed so much since then?
I feel like I improve a lot my striking and my jiu-jitsu. I think like I improve a lot since since I was training in AKA, you know. And I feel like I'm evolved, like you know, I think like I do the right things to getting better every day because I never stop to train to learn. I learn every day, even the amateur guys, you know. But that's the way that I feel. In the beginning, when in the show, you can see the show, and I was like, I feel I watched my last, you know, my last fight in the Ultimate Fighter, and I look like I don't know, like slow, different. Like it's not the Mowgli that I am right now. Is and this I think this is thanks for, thank you for my coaches, you know, like Javier, both Javier and I improve my jiu-jitsu a lot too because I have a really good jiu-jitsu coach is Ron Kessler. And yes, I feel like, you know, I feel better every day. Like I want to learn. No, how's the word? Like I never stop to learn. You know,
You
like
never
I
stop
learn
learning.
every day. Yes.
I have one way to round this off. The Ultimate Fighter. Did you ever coach on one of those? I think you did, didn't you, Hob? Were you a coach on the set for any of those Ultimate Fighters?
I did 3 Ultimate Fighters. First one was with Josh Koscheck and Cain Velasquez, is where I met Mowgli, and the last one was DC.
How did you like that experience? What's that like to be under the spotlights and the camera? I mean, I guess it's the same as the gym because we get so many cameras, but at the time it was probably a novel experience. What was that like?
Um, it was a little different, you know. It was something that you see coaches that never did something, and all of a sudden they're in the spotlight in front of the TV, and all of a sudden they're doing something that they normally don't do, or fighters are doing a little bit more, and you can tell they're playing up for the camera. And at first, I was like, "What the hell? These guys aren't normally this way." Then I thought about it. I go, "You know what? It's about entertainment. So if these guys can go and get your attention and get entertainment, then good for them, you know. Just because you want to be the same old, slug or whatever, nothing interesting about you whatsoever, then you know what? TV's going to avoid you. So if you're the smart one, then you're going to get on TV all the time, like someone like DC. DC was fantastic, man. He knew when the cameras were on, he was on. And you know what? I'm sorry to say, but that's what people want to see. They don't want to see paint dry. They want to see entertainment. And I was kind of like, honestly speaking, I was like a paint drying type of guy. DC was entertainment, and that's why you focus on entertainment, because he's entertainment. I'm not going to watch someone like me do something if I'm just paint drying. It's not worth it. DC
Well,
was.
good. Sorry. I just think, Hav, that you're a great director when you do the videos with all the guys and you make the funny videos. So you definitely have a skill set there. You understand entertainment. I laugh at it. Everyone else laughs at it. People show up for that. You are a great movie director when it comes to Instagram. So
Well, yeah, no, I understand. I understand the funny points. So I know how to ask the questions, but being that funny guy, that's another story. I personally can't be the funny guy. I think behind the scenes, I can tell you how to be the funny guy, but me actually trying to be the funny guy, I think I'd fall on my face. It is what it is. I think I take the place where I belong, and it's definitely not in front of the camera. It's behind the scenes.
so listen, guys, this has been a good rap session. Anything you want to add, Mowgli, about your fight? You're excited coming up?
Yes, I'm excited, and it's a good opportunity. You know, it's time to make money.
Yeah. I want to talk about that time to make money. It really sucks that with this pandemic, this thing going on, right? All the business owners out there are being told to shut down, and they're giving us help, this and that, but they don't give you enough help. And basically, it kind of sucks because this is going on, and they're going to put us out of business. The vast majority of us are going to go out of business unless the government comes out and helps. Right? I mean, I don't understand why. If they're making us shut down, why don't we shut down all our bills too until we get back up to our feet? It's like it doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, we're going to shut you down So if you're used to making, let's say, $100,000 a month to support your bills in your gym, and also they say, okay, we're going to shut you down, but we're only going to give you 25,000 a month to make up for what we're doing. Well, who has the other 75,000 to make up? Well, it's tough shit, right? Yeah. Yeah, it kind of sucks, because, you got all these poor businesses that need the money, and to keep their going in their families. Then you got people like Stanford, Harvard, getting so much money that they don't even need, and not that Stanford and Harvard don't need the money, that, hey, these are the money too, but what's the order here? What's the order? Shouldn't you be feeding the poor old guy that owns a barber shop that could, has no family, no nothing, and feed that poor guy, But no, you're feeding these damn universities that don't need to be fed, that have billions of dollars. I mean, what makes sense is that? Our government sucks. Everything we do they fight whether they're Republican, Democrat fight. I'm neither one Republican or Democrat, but why they all gotta fight? It can't be and help each other out. It just sickens me to see this all the time, and who at the end gets hurt? Us, the people, us, the hardworking people, us, the law-abiding citizens get hurt. And we're expecting the government to help us. What do? They don't. They help you a little bit, but then it's like you're on your own. It's just a bunch of bullshit. And of course, what are we going to do? Of course, I'm going to make it because, I've been a little bit smart. But what about the other people that aren't going to make it? What about their businesses that aren't going to make it? And then what does the government do? Well, fuck you. You take care of us. You shut us down. Take care of us. That's my little gripe, guys. I just fucking hated how they did so many people and so many people that businesses are hurting as a result of them not handling this properly.
Couldn't agree with you any more than that. I think they should start from the bottom up. I saw, like you and I looked at articles, a huge steakhouse chain was given $20 million. I mean, they can still do takeout. They're not going to be giving that to their servers. Oh, here's the $500 tips a week. They're not going to be mailing that to them. And there's it went to the big, like Fortune 500 type companies first instead of the mom and pops, the gyms.
The mom and pops, take care of them first. And look, I'm not saying don't take care of Harvard and Stanford. You shut them down, you should pay them. But I'm saying, what order did you do it in? The wrong order. They didn't need the money. Well, what about the person that all of a sudden doesn't have enough food to feed his kids, or not enough to even get gas because you cut them on everything? And what about the person who owes all the lease payments that's higher? His lease payments are much more higher than what they're receiving because they're only allowing you're only allowed 25% of what they give you to go towards the lease. Well, what about if your lease is like 75% of what you're getting? And you're only able to 55 of that. So in other words, you're short 50% of that. It sucks. That's the case with me. Actually, it's like I'm getting 25% of what my lease is, and I owe like 75%. So it's like, what? Great. Yeah, you're really taking care of me. But like I said, I'll manage. But there's other people that aren't in my situation that are going to be able to manage it. How fair is it for them? It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I know other people with other businesses. Some are making it work by using things like Zoom, and some people are doing deliveries. But there's a big bunch of people. I mean, look at 24-Hour Fitness is looking at going out of business, filing bankruptcy because basically they're an equipment rental business as opposed to a teaching business like yours. But you're in the same boat in a way.
Well, I saw a little bit today. I saw this on CNN News, and they were talking to a business guy that's opening up a restaurant, and they told them, well, this is what's going to happen. So basically, they're going to separate everybody 6 feet apart. So he's going to have like a quarter of the people he's had before, and he's like, you need sometimes a full packed house to make it with some of these businesses. And then he asked the question, well, what about the extra money I would get? Where to get that? And the guy, the interview guy was like, well, you just got to make it. Well, fuck you. We just got to make it. How does that work? If we just got to make it, then why don't I not listen to you? And why don't I keep us 4 feet apart instead of 6 feet and put more in here? You're telling me I have to do this. You're telling me tough luck on how to make it. It's got to be a better solution. But in all honesty, this pandemic is no joke. If you're following it, in the good old US of A, the people that are cleared, they're no longer in the system. 36% of them have died. So this thing does kill, and it kills a lot. In the world, I think it's like 21% of the people cleared, from this, they died. So this is not something to take lightly, and I do understand that. but there needs to be a better system to take care of all the people that they need it. And that's why you had all the the protesting and the other, what was it, Michigan? Not Michigan.
Oh, they wanted to go outside and they had their guns, and it's just they were more locked down. It depends what state and what the situation is in your area.
Wanted to come out and work. They wanted to be open their businesses, and it was too soon. But I'm just saying, why is that happening? Because they're feeling the crunch. They're feeling the crunch. They feel that they got to feed their children. They feel the crunch. That's why they're doing this. Hey, if everybody was fed, everybody was in the right situation where they don't have to worry about where their bills come and the bills were frozen. Okay, this is the thing. Your car payment, you don't have to pay until this pandemic's over, and then you start then where you were back. Guess what? Most people go, okay, that's cool. So that means that we just got to ride this out. But once I come back, I'll be back to normal and paying my bills. I'm not behind. But think about that. You're behind. The bank's gonna go, you're late 3 months of your car. We're repossessing it. But I couldn't pay. It was a pandemic. Tough. So that's what's gonna happen.
I talked to another one of your fighters who's in Mexico, Fernando, and he was like telling a couple of the other guys, "Wow, you're lucky. At least you get a stimulus check because you're in America." So just think about that.
You get nothing in Mexico. Is that right,
No.
Mogi?
Yeah, that's right. You don't have nothing from the government. And it's the same thing like with the fighters. Like I only work in this. I just fight for grab money, and I feel glad to fight in this card. Like no all the fighter has this opportunity, and that's what I feel like good because I want to grab like little bit money to to support my family too.
You gotta support your family. It's very understandable why you're where you're at. Is it the ideal situation? Would you ever take a fight like this with the kind of training you've had? If you had an option, absolutely not. But you're put in that situation where you need to support your family. You want to fight, and I see where you're at. But see, not every fighter is in your situation. There are other fighters out there that are better off than you are in their situation where they have family taking care of them. So guess what they'll do? They go, no, thanks. I'll wait till this pandemic's over. Then I'll get a real training camp. Then put me back in the roster. And it's unfortunate that you're in that situation where if it was an ideal situation, you wouldn't be doing this yourself. You would not. You would wait to get the proper training camp. But you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Fighters, what they do is fight when they need to. In this situation, you need to, and that's why you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's how is your friends and family dealing with the quarantine in Mexico, Mowgli?
They're good. Still in quarantine, but they say in the hospital is like it's worse every day, But my family is good, safe, and that's the thing that I want to hear.
Yeah, I saw some clips too of nurses, hospital workers getting beat up by the people because not for any other reason other than they didn't understand what was going on. And if they couldn't be understood correctly, they go to violence because they're angry because their loved ones are dying and they don't know how to handle it. So, this whole thing, it's bad for us here, but like you're mentioning, there's no help in Mexico.
Yeah, no, we don't have help, and they don't have supplies too, for everyone too. That's the
Yeah. I mean, can you just imagine a lot of poor people getting it in the hills, live in the hills. They get sick. They never go to the doctor. They stay home. They try to cure themselves. So there's a lot of them dying, and then they can't go to the hospital. They won't. So they're praying that they get over it, and some do because of course not everybody dies from this, but most of them are going to die without the proper care.
So, I mean, are other fighters getting stimulus checks, you think, Hav? At least something to sustain on if they're in the state?
I don't know of any person yet that I know of that's got to stimulus anything. So I have no idea.
Well, I know my wife got one. I haven't seen anything. I'm not expecting anything. I know other people that didn't, a lot of people. And I know people that their business didn't get anything. And their businesses like yours, so.
Yeah, I got I got 25% of what of what I normally get per month, and that 25%, the vast majority of what you get has to go to employees, otherwise it doesn't count. Only 25% of the 25% that I receive can go towards the lease, which is basically nothing. So each month I have to come out of pocket roughly about $16,000 to make it or more. Out of my own pocket, I have to come out of 16,000 just for the lease.
I mean, this could put you behind in some savings and could put you behind in some retirement time.
It really has. It really has. But I'm not one of the unlucky ones. So there's others that don't have the funds to be able to do that. I've been fortunate that I will be able to pull it off. But other people don't have that luxury. So I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for the others that don't have that luxury.
Yeah, it's tough because you'll see a good indicator in the news. Oh, maybe hey, a week, and all of a sudden, boom, it's worse. It's so up, down, and up again like that. This whole experience, even for me, right? I moved up here to ride this out for 35 days up by by the beach, and we're like, this place is great. It's got the lowest numbers. I made such a smart decision, and then a mile down the hill from me, grocery store, 7 people got it. 7 people got COVID at the grocery store down the street, a mile from my house. So it's too personal, right?
Yeah. One of my fighters, he got his cousin and the whole crew got it in the moving company. Every single employee got it. I mean, come on, man. Where in the history of any kind of flu or anything we've had, there was one person gets it, the whole company gets it. When has that ever happened?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's like I don't have an issue by being told stay indoors as long as the numbers are the way they are now. I just have an issue how they're handling and taking care of the people that they're making stay home. Because if you're telling me, hey, you got to continue to stay home. Okay, so you're saying that every time I stay home, you're busting me up even more and more. Make it harder for me to make a living. So obviously, I'm not well with that. But like I said, I'm not in the worst situation. There's so many others that are 10 times worse off than me. And I feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for
them. I personally feel happy for Mowgli having a fight. And Mowgli, you're going to be one of the only athletes in the world out of thousands of athletes that normally are on the playing fields, the soccer field, the basketball court, the ski slope, or whatever, the golf course, any kind of sport. You're going to be one of 50 people in the world at that time to ever perform, maybe 20 people per card, whatever it is, at the time in the history of mankind. Now that's an upside, but that's crazy. Have you grasped that idea that you'd be one of the only permitted people in the world to be participating in a professional sport while the rest of the world sits still?
Yeah, and actually, it's a big opportunity to people know who is Mowgli, right? It's like it's just a couple events from UFC. Is one of the 9. The other one is the 13. I think next one is the 15 or 16. I don't know, but it's time to mm, the people know who is Mowgli, and I want to show it to in this card.
Yeah, I really want you to come out with the best, corazon. Come out with that
With the
heart.
best performance, yeah.
Yeah. I think, Fight Island was the other thing that you might be on Fight Island. Who knows?
Hopefully.
You guys know where the island is?
No, don't know where the island's at. Don't want to know. Just so we'd have no issues. So don't want to know. Not interested where the island is. Just interested when they can pull it off. That's what caused problems in the first place. The thing with Habib, location, not giving the location. As soon as the location was found out, what happens? Boom, cut it down. So screw the location. Just hey, give me my give me my flight information. That's what I'd be as a fighter. I'd be more interested in that. Don't give me the goddamn location. Give me my itinerary. That's what I know. When I got that, I know I'm closer there.
They're going to pick you up in a white van with all the windows blacked out, and you're going to wear a blindfold, Mowgli, and they're taking you to the UFC more than likely. We're not telling you where the fight is. Just get in the van.
Yeah.
But you don't care. But an island would be cool. I'm not asking. I don't want to out it. I felt the same way when people were giving up the information that they probably ruined that card. I think that's what happened. We leaked that information.
I think that's what did it. I don't know who did it, but whoever did it leaked it out. I mean, what's the big deal? The fight was going to happen. What's the big deal? Why is the location so goddamn important? It's not important, you know. And then, you know, it cracks me up how I see these media guys use their position to attack certain individuals, you know. And I'm just like cracking myself up. And you know, I for God hope to never do that, where I use this position that you and I have created and then to attack other people, you know, because they don't agree with us, or they didn't give us the rights to this, and we use this platform to attack them. And that's a bunch of fucking bullshit, and it's pussy shit. And it is pussy shit, you know. And a lot of these media outlets, you know, they created pussy shit because the UFC shit on them, so they go and turn it, and then they do like ha ha ha. It's like, well, you know what? You're not a real news media.
No, you got to think about it, man. Like if you, and this is kind of how this works. If you tell me, and I'm some guy that's like the TMZ guy, got to report the nasty news on somebody, you know, and I go, oh, the fight's over here, and all of a sudden that falls on Disney's head, and it falls on the governor and everybody, and now they have a whole week of media attacking them. Oh, you're going to let this happen? I elected you. But if you just make it pop up and you don't leak it to the media,
it would have happened, and you know what? The UFC would have done everything, and all the participants knew what they were getting into. You know, they knew what they were getting into. You know, and that was it. You know, so to me, you know, it should. If the people that wanted to fight, they knew what they're getting into. It wasn't like everybody was being blindfolded and they're going into a situation they didn't know anything about it. You know, and they knew. You know, they knew. So if they caught it, hey, you risked it, and that was on you. But I do get the other end too. Well, if you would have never had it, then there would have never been a risk, because some of these people don't show symptoms. But if you test everybody, every single person that's involved, then you would have catch some people that don't even know they have it, and they're giving it to other people. So I don't know, man. There's so many ways you can dissect this. You know, all I'm saying is don't give up the location.
We're not giving up the location, which planet, which island, where this might be. But yeah.
He's supposed to fight Habib and Ferguson in the moon. You see the poster?
Yeah,
maybe in Uranus. Yeah.
Don't let no one know that. That might be in Venus.
No.
Mowgli, did you understand why the location, you know, leaking the location killed the fight? Do you understand how that worked?
No hablo inglés.
Ah.
Tú sabes por qué la pelea no pasó, porque cuando le dijeron on the location, los gobiernos y todo andaban hablando, y habló con Disney, dijo, hey, tú vas a ver la pelea que te va a entrar, te vamos a fregar aquí o acá, quién sabe, pero esas cosas sí pasó. And you know, they thought in the best interest of the people. I mean, hey, when Disney gets involved, that's at the highest level, man. The top execs, that's at the highest level. The governor and Disney, come on.
Yeah. When you put it on their head, man, that's what's going to happen. Well, listen, whether you're on an island or you're fighting on a fishing boat or you're fighting somewhere, I just want you to have a show and be able to feed your family, Mowgli. You know, you don't care. You don't care where it's at, do you?
No, I don't care. You know, like, that's why I'm a fighter. Not if not, maybe I'm studying and I'm gonna be like a doctor, but I'm a fighter. I don't care. I want to fight. Like, I don't care.
Well, that's true. I mean, you got to make the money. You'd probably fight Brock Lesnar right now, is my guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. See, I knew it.
That's what fighters do. Coaches don't do that. For me, I want it to be safe. You know, I want all the precautions taken to take care of him. And definitely, if Brock Lesnar is hearing this, no, he cannot fight Mowgli.
If I can grab a bat, you know, like, maybe.
You might need two bats.
Yeah, it's too big. Yes.
I used to do videos. I used to have like lightweight fighters calling out Kimbo Slice. We're like, yeah, that's never going to happen. But we thought that back when he was the big guy back in the day, the previous Brock Lesnar before.
Well, it's a little different when you're talking Kimbo Slice and the real Brock Lesnar. That's actually a legit wrestler. You know, that can actually, he did fight. You know, there's a difference. You know, Kimbo didn't have that wrestling pedigree. Kimbo was more of the puncher, striker type guy. But if you lifted Kimbo off his feet, you know, back then Kimbo was not much of anything, but on the stand-up he was big something. Yeah. But this MMA, you take your element and you don't have wrestling, your wrestling base goes, and there goes your stand-up.
Well, what do you guys think about the card that is supposed to happen? Let's say that it theoretically happens. That's coming up the next card, you know, with Gaethje, I know Coach gave me this, but let me ask you, Mowgli, ¿qué ti preferisce Gaethje o Tony questa prossima pelea?
I'm going with Tony.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why?
because he's Mexican. Just for that between Gaethje and Tony.
And what about the big heavyweights? That's a crazy fight. Ngannou versus Rosenstrike. What do you have on that, Javier? Two hammers.
Rosenstrike,
More technical?
I think more technical, but Ngannou could take him out in a second too. So don't count Ngannou out for damn sure. Never count a guy that strikes like that out, no matter what.
Yeah, it's two people. It's a test of the jaw. Whose jaw gives up first, I believe. Or they don't even hit you in the jaw. They could hit you anywhere.
Yeah, I think Rosenstrike. I think he's going to be able to pull it off. But, that's what I think. That's not what I know.
What about you, Mowgli? What do you think? Rosenstrike or Ngannou, the heavyweights?
I don't know. Both good and heavy hands, or both has power. I don't know. It's hard.
Well, I mean, other than that, there's some other good. Oh, we're having Henry Cejudo, and he's fighting.
Dominic Cruz.
Dominic Cruz, yeah.
And then Dominic kind of jumped the line a little bit based on him being available, or they wanted that fight because it made sense. I mean,
Who knows? Who knows? Jumping the line, this and that. You can't jump the line, and the reason why I say that you can't jump the line because there really is no line. It's who the UFC wants. Look, man, this is not a legit sport. A legit sport, you can't jump the line. I'm sorry, you can't do it. This is the only area of entertainment, sports fighting entertainment, that you can jump the line. Otherwise you can't do it in NFL. You can't do it in basketball. You can't do it in any sport but this one. So is it a real sport? Absolutely not. It's a sports entertainment because that means that you can switch somebody. You're supposed to fight so-and-so and number one versus number two. But in this case, well, shit, let's take the more popular Conor McGregor. Let's put him in. Now you got more fans, more people wanting to come and watch. So therefore more entertaining fight. And you don't think that the promoter's going to want to do that? Of course he is, because it's going to make more money. If I was a promoter, that's what I'd want too. But if you have governing bodies that stop you and say, I don't care if you're going to take a dive. I don't care if you're going to lose millions and millions of dollars. You're fighting number two because number two deserves that. We don't have that. And you know what? I don't think we ever will. And therefore, I never look at the fighting sport as like, I do jump the gun. Hey, you got lucky. You got lucky. They picked you and, you created your own luck too. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Well, it is like a lottery, I guess. But, I mean, he is a highly skilled guy. He's not like some lackluster dude. That's a good fight.
No, it's like this. I mean, Conor sells the most tickets out of everybody. So it's kind of like, you give the guy what he wants. Of course, don't get me wrong. Other fighters have the choice. You can not elect to fight that individual, or you can elect to fight that individual. But the bottom line is the UFC chooses who they're going to put in front of you, who's going to fight for that title, or whether they make it an interim title or not an interim title. There's no logic behind what they're doing. They're doing what's best for the business. And let's face it, they're doing shows still. They're paying fighters, so obviously they're doing something right. They're making money. So they're creating an avenue of support for so many fighters out there. I'm pro what they're doing, because they're doing a good thing. They're creating avenues of opportunities, and they're doing it right because obviously we're tuning in. Their name is world known almost anywhere in the world. Everybody knows what the UFC is. They created such a monster, that is known and it's very profitable. So, why change what they're doing? Until government comes in and regulates things, they ain't going to get regulated. They're going to do what they're going to do.
I can imagine in football if they could do that. You know what? This weekend, Dallas Cowboys, 49ers, Raiders. They would just mix it up.
Okay, can you imagine that? Can you imagine how big that would be?
Yeah.
Because that would be huge, because sometimes in the Super Bowl, you're hoping for somebody, let's say the Dallas, Cowboys, and who's their biggest rivals? I don't really know. I don't follow it very much.
Me either.
Let's just say it's the Raiders, right? Okay, so we can guarantee you the Super Bowl is going to be between the Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. if that's going to be the biggest rating, then that's going to be what they're going to want to do. But on this case, it's no, they didn't win this game, they didn't win that game, so they can't go. I mean, it's different. The fighting game's a little different, but what I'm saying is the fighting game's not the basketball game, not the football game, not the baseball game. The fighting game is more of an entertainment than it is an actual true sport. A true sport, you cannot jump ahead of anybody. Just can't happen.
Yeah, it's a bit more like Survivor Island. You have to survive the octagon. But I like it. I mean, it is funny. You've pointed that out, and I don't think I've ever heard it put that way. I mean, it's been obvious to you, and I'm like, oh, yeah, totally right about that, Javier. And that's what makes the wheels turn, but that's what keeps it entertaining, because you've seen other leagues lead with a linear approach, and they become very boring because they're not making exciting matches. They're not putting this guy against this guy. They're just, okay, just keep going. We'll see who the guy is. And there's been no personality, and there's been no conflict, and there's been no entertainment. So you've seen a lot of different, fight promotions go out of business because they took that approach. They didn't have the top names, so they couldn't make the matches like the ones you see with Habib and Conor and, Kane and Ngannou and all these different people. You can't, they've created some stars there in the UFC,
Well, like Strikeforce in the past with Scott Coker did fantastic. With Bellator, Bellator's making some splashes too. They know exactly what they're doing. I mean, to me, it's UFC, Bellator, and both great promotions, and they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And the IFL is getting their act together little by little. They're going to piece something well too, but it's just going to take a while, But definitely the Bellator and the UFC, they got their act together.
Yeah, it's been a pretty exciting thing. I want to say thank you, Mowgli. You have a great fight. Keep up the good training with Coach. It's been nice of you to join us.
Thank you.
You have an excellent fight, brother. And
Hopefully.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for your time today.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later.